Hey everybody, it's Rob from VRA Realty Alliance. You're probably wondering, how much is closing going to cost you in Pennsylvania? I'm going to break it down here for you in this video. Alright, now I got to clean that up. Okay, so this video is going to be the perspective of buying a home, and so the buyer and seller are going to have different closing costs. So I'll do another video on the seller in the future, but you can check that out if you subscribe to my channel. So please subscribe and like my channel and follow along. All right. Anyway, this is a pretty complicated question because it's different on every house, and it depends on the value of the house, taxes in the area, how you're buying the house, blah 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 blah. Let's get into it. All right, we'll start out with a rough rule of thumb, but again, this is just an estimate. So the average sales price is around $200,000 to $300,000 in Pennsylvania. The closing costs on that can range from about $7,000 to $15,000, with the average being around $10,000 on that price home. Let's say $250,000 is about $10,000, and it goes up and down from there depending on price, and again, a number of different things. So that's at least gives you a estimate. Let's dig into it a little bit deeper and see how those closing costs are calculated. And again, this does not include the down payment. This is the closing costs which are on top of the down payment, but it is also due at closing. The first two closing costs I'm going to talk about are actually due before closing, and those are appraisal and inspection. I guess you could say they're not exactly closing costs, but they're things that you have to pay for during the process. Appraisal is typically around $500, and inspection is usually $400 to $700, depending on what number of inspections you're doing. There's typically a typical homeowner's inspection, wood infestation, and radon in Pennsylvania, all pretty common. Next, I'll talk about the most likely highest closing cost for you, which is going to be your escrow account for your mortgage company. So your escrow account is going to hold maybe 12 to 13 months of taxes in it. So you're going to prepay a whole year of taxes plus a month. So in my case, that's like $6,000. Along with the taxes, your escrow account is going to hold several months of your homeowner's insurance and typically HOA fees if you have those. So if you're buying like a townhouse or condo that has HOA fees. Basically, when you think about the point of this account, it's the bank has money to pay all the expenses out for you. And so they kind of keep a bit extra in there just in case something happens with you paying or whatever. So they got that to throw in there. Another expense to think about is homeowner's insurance. You're going to pay a full year of homeowner's insurance up front. For me in my house, which is, roughly $400,000 house, it was about $1,033 for the entire year, just to give you an estimate. I'm not in a floodplain or anything like that, so flood insurance is also something to keep in mind if you are going to be in a floodplain. Another big one is transfer taxes. Transfer taxes are typically going to be about 1% of the value of the house for the buyer. However, that can vary based on where you're located. In Philadelphia, it can be above 2%. Some places charge 1.5%. So it really depends, and it also depends on the agreement with the seller because that is negotiable. If you're buying a $400,000 house, you're paying 1%. That's another $4,000 that you got to pay to Uncle Sam for taking good care of you. Another big expense is title insurance. So title insurance is an insurance policy that makes sure your house is transferred free and clear from one owner to the other owner. And what that means is that the previous owner didn't have any liens against the house, meaning like they owed taxes or didn't pay their bills, and someone said, hey, before you sell that house, you better pay me. So the title insurance is going to examine title, make sure it's clean, free and clear when it transfers to you. The title officer is also going to really do a lot of the paperwork around the transaction. He's going to be there at the closing table helping you sign all your documentation, making sure all the numbers are correct. The last set of fees that I'm going to talk about are going to be around your mortgage. So usually there is a loan origination charge. I would say on average I see that around $1,200. And then there's also some fees in there, a couple hundred here, a couple hundred there for processing paperwork, things like that. It's also possible that you may be paying points on the mortgage, which means you pay like a percentage or 0.5% or something like that to lower your rate. Additionally, if you're going FHA or using mortgage insurance, there may be some upfront mortgage insurance that you have to pay. With FHA, they sometimes roll that into the loan itself, so it's not paid by you, but added on to your loan amount. Okay, well, that's not every little detail, and again, it can change based on your transaction. Now, the cool thing is when you get pre-approved for a mortgage, they are going to give you a sheet of your estimated closing costs. So they're going to calculate all this stuff for you, which is nice. But anyway, it's good to know what to expect, so I'm glad we're going through it together. All right, everybody, we're going to go through a real live closing disclosure, and this is my closing disclosure for when I bought my house here in Westchester, Pennsylvania. We purchased this house for $397,500 with 15% down. So I'm going to go through all the different stuff in this closing disclosure, which is going to basically match up with what I just told you. You can see my loan amount, my interest rate, the payment, all that good stuff. My payment was actually a bit lower, that estimated a bit high. And you can see the closing costs here stated as $12,615. Now there's a reason that that's a bit lower than I guess it should be. I'd say you'd be more like $16,000 more typically on this house. I'll show you why. Okay, so I'm going to talk about mortgage origination right here. As you can see, there was an application fee along with a lender fee here, which was $1,290. And then there was an appraisal that I had done, and I had to rush that appraisal. I paid for that appraisal ahead of time. It was $525. They gave me the rush fee off. I closed in 19 days, which was pretty fast. And you can see my credit report, an undisclosed debt report that I was charged for as well. This is title insurance. So talked about title insurance. It's $26.71, so you can see that was $45.76.60. All right, here is transfer taxes, which you can see they got half and half, so it's like 0.5%, adding up to 1%, along with my deed recording fees, adding up to $43.02, and you can see it's basically 1% plus $326. And then my homeowner insurance premium, which I paid an entire year upfront, as you can see. And then I also had to prepay some interest, just basically, I guess, how the loan fell and all that good stuff. I put 4 months of homeowners insurance in escrow, along with 8 months of property taxes and 12 months of city taxes. The interesting thing here is there's a reason it's not 12 months, and I'm going to pay that in a different location because the seller already paid that. And then I got charged this other fee here. So anyway, it adds up to $97.27.83 right there. And then that plus that minus a lender credit. So I basically made lenders compete and got this credit. If you want to find out how to do that, just reach out to me. Not a problem. So here's an interesting thing here. So you can see my estimate initially for the closing costs was this, and what it actually ended up being was this, which is a combination of because of the lender fee and because of the taxes and the way that was paid. And you can see those adjustments and other credits down here. So cash to close. So my cash to close would have been about this. There's a $4,000 deposit check that I made, so that's why that's $4,000 lower. And then you've had the $1,600 credit, which made that basically $5,600 lower than this. And yeah, I guess they just estimated a little bit high. So that's my total cash to close with 15% down. So it's like $60,000 plus closing costs. So I'd say my closing costs in general were about $15,000 for this whole thing. And you can see here what's due to the seller and all that good stuff. Okay, I don't know about you, but my head kind of hurts after all that. But again, the main thing is you can reach out to me with any questions that you have about your closing costs in Pennsylvania. I'm happy to help you. Just put it in the comments below, or you can email me at rob@rdlre.com, or shoot me a text or call me at 484-354-9222. Happy to help you get a handle on this so you can understand how much money you need to buy a home and get an understanding of, okay, you know, how can we use the seller's assist or other options that may be grants or things like that available to you. So whatever it is, let me know. Hope your head doesn't hurt too much, or at least as much as mine does right now. But reach out to me. Love to help you become a homeowner in Pennsylvania.